What is up, my fellow golf ball addicts? We have the first of many quad reviews from Volvik today. Let's dive right in. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching and commenting and liking and all the stuff that helps the algorithm. Is for free. I also do have a membership. It just starts at $1 a month. So if you want to contribute further, you can hit that join button, and I really appreciate everyone who's done that as well. So I am doing a quad review on Volvik, and I think I'm going to do a few more quad reviews on Volvik because, well, Volvik has 16 different models, and throughout all these different varieties of color combinations and alignment tools and stuff, they are all different compressions. And so when I reached out to Volvik and I said, hey, you know, is there any way I can just buy a sleeve of each? I said, you know, it's going to cost like $600-700 just to buy, you know, a dozen of all 16 models. Volvik was actually pretty cool. They were like, yeah, absolutely, we'll cut you a deal. You know, you do one sleeve of each opposed to it. And so they only charged me for one sleeve opposed to, you know, 1 dozen. And I want to give them a shout out for that because I'll be honest, I have put off reviewing these golf balls for a long time because of that reason. $600 to $700 to just review a set of golf balls. It's a lot on the wallet, especially when you're still kind of, you know, trying to make this work. Here we're kind of starting off with the beginner series. We have like this one right here, which is the Radiance. It's like a senior golf ball. It's also more of a, I would call it, I guess, ladies ball maybe, but it's very soft compression, very bouncy ball. And if we look at, you know, all 4 of those models here, this is kind of what we're looking at. As you can see, it's a lot of 2-piece iometer golf balls with a very, very low compression. Now you'll notice that the compression does kind of go up. We've got a 60 right there. The Power Soft is actually a, I think 75, and then you have your Vimat that is going to be 85. I mean, so it's a steady increase there. But that last one there, as you can see, is the XT Soft. That actually is underneath their Tour line. It might be Value Tour, but it's still under the Tour line when you go to the website. So the first 3 are soft, 2-piece, you know, beginner golf balls, essentially what they're probably going to call them, but you know, that kind of style. And then we do have a 3-piece urethane in there that I expect to perform better. The real question is the XT Soft going to perform a lot better based on, one, the price? It's double the price of the rest of them. All 3 of those beginner golf balls are $19.99 a dozen. But the XT Soft is actually double it at $39.99, so I would expect a pretty good performance. So without further ado, let's kind of dive right in here too as far as the designs. Looking at, you know, what these golf balls have, you know, the Volvik logo on the front here, yeah, it is what it is, I guess. I mean, it's just their name. The number there. If we look at the alignment tools of all 4 of these different models, they are all different. I mean, they're very different, actually. Starting with the Radiance, you know, it's not bad. I don't like all the curves in the line, but at least it gets the job done. They at least try. They put some effort in. Then if you look at the Power Soft, I mean, it's like see-through, and it's very, very difficult to see. I'll hold this one up to the camera. Yeah, it's very difficult to see, especially with how shiny the golf ball is, because it kind of looks like it has the crystal style look, you know. Then if we get into the Vimat, I actually like this one a lot. Just nice, solid black line, easy to see. I mean, if I put that up, I can see it. It looks great against the yellow. That's awesome. Great contrast there. The black and yellow actually does look good. Then if we look at the XT Soft, this is where it actually gets really interesting. They have an incredible alignment tool there. It's got the 3 thick lines. It's also got a little bit of a perpendicular line, so you can line the face of your putter up. That right there, again, off the yellow, easy to see. The light's kind of, you know, it is kind of a little difficult to see, actually. But, I mean, once you have it up to your face, it's easy. Maybe it just needs to be longer, but that's awesome. That's one of the most unique ones I've seen. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get out to the chipping and the putting green, and let's see how they do around there. All right, starting with the Radiance. So this is the pink ball. I don't expect a lot from this, but we'll see. Yeah, can a ball have negative spin? Oh, wow. I mean, there's just, yeah, nothing. I mean, there's just no rotation, but it feels nice and squishy. Yeah, very, very consistent rollout, which is nice. This would be great for a lot of beginner golfers. I would take that with a grain of salt. That should be good. Oh, it actually did kind of stop a little bit. So thanks to that final effort, it'll get like 5%. But yeah, there's no spin here. It's just because it's so soft. All right, next up, we have the Power Soft. Comes in this beautiful little burnt orange color. I love it. Oh, okay, very soft, low spinner. A little bit of checkup, a little bit more than the Radiance, but still, I mean, very, very low. Let's go ahead and try again here. Okay, nice little high flight. Very firm release. One more time. Again, very dead in the hands. I mean, not as much bouncy balls as the Radiance, but a little bit for sure.
Oh yeah, it was a low spinner, but you got to take out the spinner part. It was just low. Be the one. That's what I'm talking about. Can we go back to back, baby? Nope, because I mishit the crap out of it. Yeah, there's just not a lot of rotation there. I would call that one maybe 10%, so it's slightly more than the Radiance, but neither of these are about stopping power. They're about just nice bump and run straight to the hole. All right, next up is the Vimat, so a matte colored golf ball, or a matte, you know, covered golf ball. These usually don't grip a lot. That was beautiful. That was really nice. Again, the spin wasn't really there, but as far as just being straight, consistent, forgiving on jumping left and right, I love that. All of these have kind of been the case. Oh, I pulled it. Oh, okay, so a little bit of bass effect there, but still not a lot of spin. I mean, it's not gonna grip. Now that had some checkup. That was actually kind of nice. I must have caught it just right. Boy, yeah, you just, not a ton. It's hard to test a golf ball like the Snyder lineup, like I just did, and then come test these, because, you know, the Snyders, I mean, they were just spinning so much, and now I'm having to make an adjustment, but this is nice. It's still got a lot of bouncy ball in there. It's very forgiving. Yeah, I mean, consistent rollout right to the hole. Yeah, again, another bump and run type player. All three of these, that's kind of how it's been. Okay. No, not on that one. Now, I did slightly mishit it, just barely, but let's try it again. Oh, it skipped right over the hole. Yeah, I mean, again, no spin. I mean, I just consistently, sometimes, like this one's the one that acts like it wants to the most, but the second it hits that second hop, it's gone, just straight off the green. Okay, nice. Oh, okay, so that was clean, that was crisp, but it had a little bit of like left kind of shooting, like a little bit of bass there, but still just not any grip. You know what I mean? It just isn't gripping. They're all firmly releasing past the hole almost. It's a little disappointing, especially for this ball, because this ball is a three-piece. I expected it to spin a little bit more. There we go, beautiful. And yeah, it's just past the hole. I'm having trouble getting a feel for it. I would say that one, I mean, the other three I didn't mind because I get it. Two-piece bouncy ball. It's not supposed to spin a ton. I get all that. But that last one I was a little disappointed in. I thought it would have some, but I mean, we're looking at like 15%. So that's going to be the highest of the three, 15%. A little disappointing overall. Also, everyone on the channel who commented about the grass needing to be mowed, all of you send a special shout out to my mother. She read those comments, and while I was at work yesterday, she came and mowed all this because she didn't want people to complain anymore. So God bless her, send her a thank you. I hope some of you can now take my reviews seriously again now that we have the grass cut. I'm just teasing, by the way, but still. All right, mallet putter here, starting with the Radiance. I imagine it'll be very bouncy. Yeah, very bouncy. Oh, well, cool, back of the cup. Yeah, sprung off really fast off the putter, no feeling in the hands. Oh, I just bouncy, boing, boing, boing. Like, I mean, I almost have to barely even come back. The roll's really good, though. Oh, yeah, okay, oh, yeah, okay. Once you make that adjustment, it's not so bad. That's great. I want that final one in. Gonna try a little hit off the toe. Yeah, see, that's one thing I do really like about the more bouncier balls. You hit them off the toe or anything, and they still just shoot off. A lot of forgiveness packed in there. I like putting with that. Now, the loyalist and you know, more traditionalist, if you like the clicky, the feedback, maybe not for you. But look, if you're still beginning or you're just having fun out there, that's easy to putt. You don't have to come back very far at all to get that ball to spring toward the hole, which I like. So, moving on to the orange, which of course is the Power Soft. Oh, wow, okay. That's actually impressive. Wow, a nice little press in the hands, just very faint. Okay, okay. I got a little bit of chug effect on that one. So let me just verify the parking. No. That was me. I got to run that back. I didn't even make any of them. Just kind of a rapid fire. I know we got limited time, guys. Oh yeah, very nice. Really true roll. Little click. Yeah, it's not obnoxious. Both of these are low on the feedback and the sound. Okay, yeah. Okay, I think I finally got, yeah, I like that, excellent. Okay, yeah, not bad. Dang it, putting too much on it, too much sauce. Well, I don't really care for the feel on that. It was kind of meh. Yeah, I'm getting some chug. I gotta run that back. There's some stuff I gotta make sure. Yeah, so my first initial thoughts was I didn't see a very true roll. And also, I'm just not a big fan of the feel. I just want to validate the parking there. Okay, that was nice, right off the center. Okay, not bad. Still kind of some chug though. Yeah, I'm not liking this. I'm having to think too much and it's just, yeah, I'm not very confident with this. I just don't think I like the feel. I love the sound, just don't like the feel that much. Feels okay, you know, average. All right, XT soft time. Excellent alignment tool on this ball, I love it. Oh, okay, that gone. I did not expect it to be that soft. Wow. Okay, nice. I like the roll. These are just, all these golf balls are springing off so much. There's so much bouncy ball effect. What is with the, do they put like a magnet in these that are like, you know, just, I mean like, hey, it can brush the cup, but it just can't go in? Yeah, overall, you know, not bad. The ones with bouncy ball, you know, they're really easy to just pick up and putt. And if you, you know, spend a little time, you can get used to how fast they come off the putter. I like it. None of them were really egregious on the roll. There was that final one that had a little bit of chug effect. But overall, yeah, they all putt great. I didn't see any major red flags. So let's move on to the blade putter. Oh, that is butter. I mean, and look how far it went. I mean, this golf ball has just so much spring to it. It's almost comical, but I mean, it's been a while since I've seen that. Yeah, I like that a lot. It's still too hard. Guys, I'm trying so hard to just barely put anything on this golf ball. And it got there. That's hilarious. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I just went like, that's all I did. That's hilarious. I got to run that back. Because we're using a skinnier putter now, I'm feeling just a tiny bit of feedback and there is a tiny bit of click. Yeah, that's excellent. If I had a blade putter like this, I would putt with this ball all day long. That's really cool, actually. I like that a lot. Then if we get into the Volvik, wait, oh, they're all Volviks. Oh, wow, Okay, there was like so much chug effect, you could call it a train. Let's try it one more time here. Not as bad, but still pretty bad. Okay, one more time. Yeah, the roll's not true on that. There's some chug effect for sure. Also, the feel is still pretty good for the most part. It's not as good as the pink Radiance actually, but still solid. Okay, nice. Very nice, okay. All of them just feel so close, guys. I mean, there's no point in me really even talking about the feel anymore. You know, there is some feedback now. There is a click because of the blade putter, but it's still so soft. The roll on that one was nice. I didn't like the orange one, but I like the yellow. The Power Soft I didn't like, but the Vimat I did, and so I did the Radiance. Now we get into the XT Soft. Sorry, you got to bear with me on these names. I'm still trying to learn them. Oh, okay, now I heard a little hollow sound. That was actually pretty nice. That was a lot better than the mallet. That's kind of what I expected from the mallet. That's nice, really nice. 10 out of 10 true roll. Has a lot of spring. It comes off the putter extremely hot. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, cool, interesting. So a little different. So again, no red flags, you know, a lot of bouncy ball in there. The one cool thing about all these golf balls is I had to make an adjustment. You know, I'm used to coming back like this. Now all of a sudden I just got to come back like this. I mean, it's really more subdued, which if you're a beginner or intermediate golfer, or you're someone who struggles with putting, that can help you quite a bit, but it's not going to be for everybody. But if you can get past that and make the adjustment, it's kind of fun. It really is fun to see it spring off. And I thought there was going to be more chug effect considering how much bounce some of these had. It didn't. They actually rolled pretty decently for the most part, so thumbs up. All right, starting with the Radiance. I imagine this is going to have some bouncy ball, or at least I'm hoping it will, because I mean, just based on the compression. Yeah, solid. You know, it definitely has a lot of bouncy ball, really springs off the club, very forgiving even on mishits. That's exactly how I'd expect a golf ball like that to feel. It's been a while, so that's kind of refreshing. Moving on. Whoa, okay. A little bit of a mishit, but boy, that had a lot of power behind it. Yeah, that's still got so much bouncy ball in it. Like, maybe not as much bouncy ball per se as the Radiance, but that is an excellent feel. It has so much explosiveness. I mean, I feel when I connect with that thing, I feel like it shoots off and just goes forever and a day. So, miss hit, and boy, didn't really care for the feel. Let's make sure that it wasn't an egregious. Oh yeah, there's a pure hit, and I'll tell you what. Nicky likey. Yeah, just like the other two, so much explosiveness. Okay, I feel the 3 layers. It's definitely a little bit more delayed, not a ton, but just a smidge, just enough to where I can tell it's not like a 2-piece bouncy anymore. You got more of a 3-piece, more control feel. Still a good level of explosiveness though. It's okay, you know, it's not making my eyes pop like the other ones did, but it's not bad. I've definitely seen a lot worse, so it's kind of in the middle.
All right, let's talk some data. Getting into the 50-yard pitch, this is the backspin RPM we are looking at.
All right, so as you can see from the Radiance, very, very low. That's the lowest I've seen in a long time, and it did try to offset it with a high launch, but yeah, still the lowest I've seen. Then we get to 75-25, which is slightly below average, but still not bad. I mean, it's going to hold its own with a 30.7 launch. Then we've got the 7,371 with the Vimat. Again, lower than average, but with a high launch like 33.5. That should offset. I think you'll still be able to hold a green just fine as long as it's not too windy. Then when we get to the XT Soft, I would expect this golf ball to have more since it is a 3-piece, since it is double the price of the other ones, and it did. That's actually a really respectable number, 87.64. That's awesome. You know, we've been testing a lot of golf balls that have been getting really good spin lately, so that's nice to see. And it launched kind of at like a mid-27. I like that also.
Okay, so that is what I would kind of expect. Now, I do give credit to the Power Soft and the Vimat for at least holding their own. You know, 7,500, 7,300 is definitely below average, but it is still enough to kind of have some stopping power on the green. Like, it's going to bounce and roll maybe a yard or two, but it's not going to just roll to the back of the green. So I give them some credit there in that regard. Now, I give 0 credit to the Radiance because, look, I know what Radiance is trying to do here, okay? It's common. 35.2 launch angle. It's trying to just launch so high in the air that basically it counteracts for the lack of spin. Now, that's fine in certain situations. If you have 6,000 to 6,500 RPM and you have that type of height, sure, you can get away with it. I mean, not on a windy day, but for not a windy day, you can get away with it. But 4,775, that's the lowest I've seen this year. I mean, we're up to like 70 or 75 golf balls, somewhere in that range tested this year. And that's by far the lowest I've seen, by far. And so 35.2 launch angle ain't going to do a lot. I think some people are going to have a lot of hard times holding any green with that. You know, that might be a course testing, but still. All right, moving on to the pitching wedge we are looking at.
So the first thing I notice is how consistent the ball speed numbers are. The club speed as well, but everything is nice and tight. It's all right in there. It's all very close. But what's really cool is it is all yellow. So it's all, you know, it's not green by any means, but there is some green down there at the bottom, as you can see. Looking at the spin numbers, you know, the Radiance, again, is very, very, very low. I expect that, but it launches very high at 28.2. I think that's the highest I've seen this year, and if not, it's top 3 for sure. Then we look at 72.16, 76.04. That is awesome. I mean, usually Mac golf balls don't spin as much, but man, this thing's spinning like crazy. 7,432 with the XT Soft, which again is awesome. Carry distance, you know, I gain distance with the Radiance. I gain distance with the Power Soft, so both of those are in the green. And look at all the smash factors at the bottom as well. Really healthy to see there. Now, the Vimat did lose, you know, half a yard of distance, maybe a yard of distance, but when you look at that high spin number, that offsets it. So I'm completely fine with that. And then the XT Soft just kind of held its own, a really high spin number, you know, medium. You know, there's nothing bad there. Those are all really pretty decent performances, and I like that they are a little different if you need more spin, less spin. So that's good to see. Let's move on.
Then we look at, you know, gain and distance with the Power Soft, really healthy spin, above average spin on all 3 of the models, which is interesting. The Vimat 7,600 RPM, that's more than even the XT Soft, it being a 3-piece urethane. And this is something I have preached, you know, the last couple of years big time. technology has improved. Don't always assume just because something is a two-piece that it won't spin as much as a three-piece. I mean, I've seen two-piece golf balls rip back to me on the course, you know, hit right. Technology's better, you know, we're learning how to make them better. We're learning how to make them spin more and how to, you know, have more explosiveness off the club. And so that's where you're seeing that from. So I was kind of interested to see that. I actually like all those numbers across the board. Let's move on to the 7-iron we're looking at.
Yeah, this looks pretty good, actually. We got a lot of green in here, and it looks like we got some yellow as well. So starting at the top with the ball speed, you know, 116.2 is just barely on the average front. It's almost in the green. As you can see, 116.4 there at the end is in the green, so it's extremely close. 116.7, 117.5, that's excellent for the Vimat. Then we look at spin numbers, 57.96, 57.43, so both of those are some of the best I have seen this year, which is funny. The Radiance has been a low spin golf ball. I'll talk more about that in a second. 4,906 is low with the Vimat now. That's quite a switch as well. I mean, we've completely flip-flopped. 54.46 with the XT Soft, that's kind of a mid. Launch-wise, we've got, you know, a high launch, a mid-launch, a mid-launch, and a mid-launch. Okay, cool. And then we've got average distance, but both those spin numbers are very high, like I said. Look at the smash factors, awesome. And then 167.7, 170.4, because I lost the spin with the Vimat, I got some extra distance, so that's really healthy to see. And then even with the XT Soft, 163.3 and 165.3, that's great. So overall, again, we have nothing really negative here.
Sometimes it's so funny how golf balls work. I mean, it happens all the time, but it still is kind of intriguing, even though I see it constantly, is like the Vimat has the most spin with the pitching wedge. Then we come to the 7-iron, and that has the least amount of spin. It's funny how that works sometimes. But looking at all these again, there's nothing too negative. You know what I mean? Like you have some in there that are low spin that would be great for more of a player who needs less spin. You've got some that are mid spin, the XT Soft mid. Then you've got two, the Radiance and the Power Soft, which is funny. The Radiance has struggled with spin this whole time. Now we get to the 7-iron, and because the compression's a little different, I'm swinging a lot harder. The golf ball's absorbing into the club so much that, yeah, there's a little bit more backspin. So now all of a sudden it's the highest, which again, you know, lowest I've seen this year. Very, 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 very low. Oh, now it's like one of the highest I've seen. Hilarious. We have the driver left, and as many of you know, that's where it can either be made or broken. So let's see what we got here.
All right, so we actually do have a lot of green in here, so let's dive in. Let's dive in a little further. If we look at the ball speed, 141.6, 143.6, 143.9, 143.3. So the other three, you know, the Power Soft, Vimat, and XT Soft, all are above average, which is excellent. The Radiance did start to overcompress, but I gotta say, I thought it was going to be a lot worse than this. The fact that I was still able to get 229.5 carry out of it, you know, usually with these softer, bouncy balls like this, you know, I'm overcompressing them so much. I've seen it to where I lose 10 yards. I didn't. I lost 2 or 3. So I can deal with that. So I think if you're like a 90-mile-an-hour swinger, I think it would be perfectly optimal. But I'm not, so it didn't do as well. It did start to overcompress. Then if we look at the you know, spin numbers, everything is pretty close to either mid or just slightly above mid. The Radiance had the most spin, obviously. That's not a surprise to anybody. Then when we get into the distances, look how consistent it all is. I mean, seriously, you've got 232, 234, 231, 240, 242, 240. It's all right there. It's all green. You know, the smash factors are awesome. That's great. You know, the only negative I've seen from this review really so far is this Radiance performance. But again, you know, it's common to have a softer golf ball start to do this when I get to the driver. So overall, you know, yeah, there's nothing out of the ordinary here.
You know, really, I don't hate that at all. You know, none of these numbers have really been eye-popping to me where I'm like, holy cow, guys, that's incredible. But there's been nothing that I'm like, oh, that might be a deal breaker. Like everything's either just kind of right in that middle to good line, you know, and it's very consistent. The Radiance did lose a little bit of distance on the total rollout, but let's be honest, it's such a soft, squishy golf ball. That doesn't surprise me. I thought I was going to overcompress it more than I did. So I was actually surprised it still held as well as it did. Then if you look at the other three, all green in the ball speed, all green in the distance, all green in the smash factor, all above average. Spin-wise, you got medium, and then you got a red there with the Vimat. But keep in mind, that red with the Vimat is, I mean, like 10 RPM over what would be average, the yellow. So, I mean, we're talking extremely close. None of those are going to break any records. None of those are going to be in any top 10s or top 15s when it comes to ball speed for driver, but they are above average. So cool. Okay. With that being said, I guess let's go over to the computer. Let's look at accuracy and dispersion. Let's see if there's any red flags over there.
Starting with the Radiance, 50-yard pitch, it's all spread out, so there's nothing like super tight there, but it's consistent. Those are all on the green, so nothing wrong there. Pitching wedge, again, probably a little too spread out for my taste, but it's not the worst I've seen, so it's just okay. Now, 7-iron, when it comes to the accuracy, it's kind of all over the place, and of course there's some human error in there, but still, that's like way left and right. You're talking a considerable yardage difference. There's only a couple of those that are actually on the green. Now, as far as distance consistency, as far as distance control, that's excellent. I mean, every golf ball is pretty much going the same amount of distance, and that's a benefit of some of these softer golf balls that no one wants to talk about. You can actually get, you do sacrifice maybe 3 or 4 yards sometimes. Not the case with the Radiance. We saw that from the numbers, but sometimes you might sacrifice that distance, but you get way more consistency, and it really showed right there. Same thing with the driver. That's impressive for the driver. There is a far pull left that I did, but other than that, everything is kind of right in the center there. There's really good distance control. It's just a nice, easy, forgiving, consistent golf ball. So I wish, the short game had been just a little tighter, but overall, I'm still kind of impressed. Then if we look at the Power Soft, 50-yard pitch, a little tighter. I like that. Now, granted, everything, keep in mind, I must have had my monitor set up a little left because you'll notice everything is kind of aimed to the left a little bit, so just take that with a grain of salt. When we get to the pitching wedge, again, a little bit tighter. I like that. That's really good. There's some darts in there, ladies and gentlemen. I love that. Now, 7-iron, you do have 2 pulls to the left and 1 tiny push to the right, but if you take 7 out of 10 that are right there in the center of that yellow circle, those are darts. I mean, that's given me some serious birdie opportunities. I love to see that. So this has been excellent. Getting into the driver, I know initially it looks pretty bad, but there's also 3 pulls left. If you look at just the 7 on the right side of the red circle, going basically down on your screen if you see it, that's really nice. You know what I mean? That's really, really healthy. And so I'm actually impressed with that as a whole. I think it's very consistent. This is kind of what I would have liked to have seen out of the Radiance, but it's close. Good stuff. Now, spoiler alert, this is the best of the 4 for sure. When we look at the 50-yard pitch, all darts, excellent. When we look at the pitching wedge, are you kidding me right now? Look at that. That is just, maybe I am good at this game. I don't know. Golf's easy. I don't know what you guys are talking about. No, seriously, that's amazing. And then if we look at the 7-iron, again, you have 3 pulls to the left, as you can see, but 7 out of 10 are just right there. Just excellent. We get into the driver, you've got 1 pull, you've got 1 push, but if you take the other 8 out of 10 that are right in the center, it's awesome. Those are fairway finders. Overall, this is a golf ball I would feel really, really confident with if I had it on the course. I feel like I could really throw some darts and hit a lot more fairways. Good stuff. And when it comes to the XT Soft, as you can see, this is kind of sporadic. When we look at the 50-yard pitch and the pitching wedge, those are both excellent. There's some darts being thrown there. But the second you get into the longer clubs, it really starts to get sporadic and all over the place. And this is what I tell a lot of golfers as well. When you get into these advanced tour level golf balls, one of the downsides I've seen is if you're not quite a good enough golfer, let's say you're still just a mid-handicap and you're still trying to get better on your ball striking, these advanced golf balls sometimes punish you, and not just on mishits as far as distance. As you can see, granted there's some human element in there, but when you're talking about a guy like me, we just saw what I did with the other golf balls. That 7-iron is all over the place. There's like 4 or 5 that I really like and the other ones are just spread out. Driver is just basically like, okay, how much of the fairway can we cover? We covered the far left side, we covered the far right side, we'll go a little bit, in the rough, a little bit rough on the right. It's all over the place. This is one that I would say I have the least amount of confidence of the 4, and it just goes to show you, again, there are benefits to tour balls. There's benefits to advanced golf balls if you know how to hit them right, but I just want everyone to know this is one of the downsides that sometimes you can see. If you're just an average ball striker like me, when you get into these long clubs, you go out on a day where you're just not swinging your best, and my goodness, you might see your score go up quite a bit, higher than usual.
All right, let's talk about some durability here. We're starting with the Radiance. All right, looking at this, as you can see, Volvik on the side. Yeah, that's the paint's coming off pretty heavily there. If I feel the golf ball, it does have a little bit of roughness to the touch as well, all on that side. Yeah, all over actually. That's going to be a 6 out of 10. I do think it'll get you close to the round. It might be just before, but let's be honest, if you're buying golf balls like this, you're probably going to lose a couple of rounds, so I doubt you'll even notice it. But yeah, 6 out of 10. It was close to a 7, but to the Power Soft, again, we have that Volvik paint kind of coming off again on the lettering, which is interesting. You know, this is a golf ball that is going to hide some blemishes because it's so shiny, but if I feel it, and if I really feel it, you know, it does have some scuffs in there. I can feel that, so I'm going to go 7 out of 10 on this one. It is a little bit better than the last, but it's just trying to hide these blemishes. A lot of the time, these kind of crystal-looking golf balls will do that, but no, I see past you. Now, looking at the Vimat, matte golf balls usually do extremely well when it comes to durability test, and this one is no different. Looking at it, yeah, I mean, there's hardly any paint coming off. Feeling the golf ball all the way around, it's very smooth. Even the side that I hit over, you know, 80 times, doesn't even really feel like it's scuffed. That's a 9 out of 10. That is fantastic. Matte golf balls always do extremely well in durability. And then if we look at the XT Soft, you know, this is the most premium one looking. It has a great shine to it, but you can see now it does have some scuffing there. If I feel it with my finger, it's definitely a little rough to the touch. I got some sandpaper effect for sure. The rest of the golf ball looks really, really good though. I mean, again, if it wasn't for this gouge right here, I mean, there's a little gouge next to the Volvik. Other than that, it's pretty decent, but because of that gouge, I got to give it a 7 out of 10. I think it would have been an 8 out of 10, but I got to kind of, I mean, that's a chunk out of the golf ball. I would have to toss it at this point, because as soon as this golf ball gets up in the air, that would affect it. Okay, so not bad on the durability. Closing thoughts, you know, who are these golf balls for? Well, you know, what's funny is I actually like all of them in some way. I've loved hitting them. A lot of them have that bouncy ball effect that I really have missed and I've really wanted back. You know, a lot of you guys who have been around on the channel long enough know that when I hit something that has that true bouncy ball effect where it just, I mean, it feels like it just shoots off, I love that. It really makes me feel like, man, even if I go to a short course and I hit a pitching wedge, I'm going to feel like I got all of it, you know. And plus, it also usually is more forgiving in that regard, which these golf balls were. They were more forgiving. So I think with the Radiance, if you don't need a lot of spin, if you just need a really soft, fun golf ball to hit, very forgiving, put it down, go have a good time. You know, this is your slower swingers, your seniors, maybe some ladies in there, like my mom even. I'm thinking about making her try it, to be honest. But that's kind of who this is for. It has really low spin, so you're not going to hold a lot of greens when it comes to the pitching wedge or when it comes to the 50-yard pitch. It's just, it launches way too high. But it is fun to hit, and the numbers weren't terrible other than the spin not holding. Once we got to 7-iron, then the spin was fine. So, you know, it's not perfect, but there's a market for it. It might be small, but there is a market for it. It was a good time. It was a ball that if I found out there, I might hit it 1 or 2 shots just because it's kind of fun to hit. But other than that, it's not for me. All right, then we move on to the Power Soft, and when it comes to the Power Soft, again, this is a golf ball that is a 2-piece model that is great. Now, what separates the you know, Power Soft from the Vimat, like which player is going to want which one? Well, I think when it comes to that, it's really going to be about the long iron spin. That's the only difference I could really find between these two golf balls. Other than that, they were pretty close in almost everything. So, you know, it's like, I don't know. They're very, very close. I guess if you want a matte golf ball opposed to a not matte golf ball, go with the Vimat. But if you want less long iron spin, maybe go with the Vimat, and if you don't, go with the Power Soft. They're very close. I mean, they're very, very close all the way through. There's not a lot of distinguishable differences other than appearance and stuff like that. Performance, I would call them the same, you know, so it's interesting enough. Then when we get to the XT Soft, you know, it's funny because the XT Soft, I didn't care for the feel. It's not my cup of tea. Maybe it'll be yours, but I just didn't care for how it came off the club. But my big thing with the XT Soft is, look, it's a 3-piece urethane. It's double the price of all 3 of these other golf balls. I expected it to really blow these golf balls away, and it didn't. It didn't with the driver. It didn't with 7-iron. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not bad. It held its own. It was right there in the group, but it's kind of like if Tiger Woods played in my scramble tournament and, you know, our group was 14 under and Tiger's was 15, I'd be like, oh, he won. But I'd be like, wait a minute, shouldn't he have been like 28 or 29 under? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's like that. I was expecting it to be light years better. Now, 50-yard pitch it was, so if you do require, you know, the absolute most spin and grip and, you know, controllability around the green, you got to go with a 3-piece urethane for sure, because the short shots are where you notice that. But everything else, as far as irons, pitching wedge, 7-iron, driver, all that stuff, there was really not much difference. In fact, I could make an argument that those other golf balls performed slightly better. I'm not saying they did, but I could make an argument for sure. With that being said, guys, we have 12 more to go, so we'll see. This was the first set of 4 of a 4 set of 4 Goodness gracious, so many models. All right, I will see you guys soon. As always, keep watching, keep saving, keep learning. Until next time.